All right, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I got the popcorn bucket. It's right there. Is the big shield when it opens up. It's a whole thing. It doesn't even fit in the display case. It's like the hammer from Lord of the Rings. I got to put them on top of the thing because it's just, yeah, it's awesome. It's not as great as Winter Soldier. It might not even be as great as Civil War, but my God, it is so freaking good. It's just a great Captain America movie. It's a great Incredible Hulk sequel. I'm pretty biased. I think 2008's Incredible Hulk is a really fun, satisfying movie that nobody really appreciates in modern day. And I've been wanting a sequel, and obviously Universal's rights make that impossible. But Jesus Christ, is this the best Incredible Hulk 2 I've gotten in the past 15 years? I'm like a lot of people. I really miss classic Rage Hulk, the Hulk that we've seen in Incredible Hulk, Avengers 1, Avengers 2. Especially Avengers 2, I think they really nailed, like, Bruce Banner is like afraid of this entity inside of him, and he knows that it's going to win whatever fight it gets to. We have not had a return to that type of Hulk since Age of Ultron. And throughout the entire MCU, Hulk has just been super pacified and neutered, and now he's just this really big, funny guy who laughs and smiles and does science or whatever and doesn't do anything fun. Thunderbolt Ross is Rage Hulk, and it's only at the end of the movie. And it's only for maybe 10, 12 minutes of screen time. I totally get why that'd be disappointing to people, but when it's on screen, it is a return to 2008's Hulk, and I love every minute of that. And yes, there is a fight between Captain America and the new Hulk, and dude, it's about as long as you could have made that fight go on for, realistically, given what he had at his disposal. That's it. If it went on any longer, Sam is deceased. So I really appreciate that they stretched it out the way they did, and they made it really satisfying to watch. Like, every meticulously planned fight move between them was just a step up from the last, where just everything gets countered, recountered, and dodged and thrown back, and it's really satisfying to watch. It's unbelievably satisfying. And not just as a fan of the movie itself, but like, it is a follow-up to like 3 other random MCU movies, and it does it really, really well, in my opinion. Let me get the negatives out of the way so I can talk in agreements with a lot of people who didn't like it. There is a pacing problem. The second act is really, really rushed. You can kind of feel the reshoots. There's a lot of scenes, not a lot, but there's a few key scenes where it's just 2 people in a room talking, probably on green screen, and they're just talking about exposition that like either was already clarified or is slightly different this time because they got to change it. Like, I totally get that. Those are not there. It's in the movie. But what that allows and what that's in service of in terms of how satisfying the movie becomes, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I was edge of my seat a lot of the way. Some characters were underdeveloped because of this. The Black Widow-esque character felt a little like, why was she even there now? Maybe she had a bigger role in a different version of the movie, and now it's just way cut down. I don't know. Can't speak to any of that. But I really enjoyed the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres. He's fun to watch. I feel like if he was on screen a little longer, then I would have kind of gotten annoyed with his presence, but they kind of toned him down and kept him right at the optimal, like, peak level of how much he could just be talking endlessly. Let's talk about Sam. A lot of people were trepidatious about him being Captain America. Like, oh, is he worthy of the mantle? I think him questioning if he's worthy of the mantle or not is part of the character and part of the story. And I love to watch that evolve, both in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then, of course, this as a follow-up where he's now embodying the role and trying to measure up. I really enjoyed him. I thought he was excellent. Anthony Mackie, he's so charismatic and so fun in, like, every scene. And whether it's a reshoot or not, he's making it so watchable. I get the critics out there saying, oh, Steve Rogers is, like, this certain type of character. You can't really replace him. But what is the spirit of Captain America? He's strong, he's loyal, he never gives up, he always fights for what he knows is right. I'm sorry, but Sam also embodies all of those ideals. He's just a different character doing it. Obviously, Steve Rogers is like the person in the MCU that everyone wants to be and aspires to be. Like, that's hope. There's even a speech in there by, and we're in spoilers, who cares, but fucking Bucky has this big speech where he's like, yeah, you're not Steve Rogers, because he's like, you measure up to be him. You're the one that people can see themselves as because you're not a super soldier. You're just taking up the mantle and trying to do what's right. And I don't know. I thought that was a really effective speech. I didn't know he was in the movie, so that cameo was really well placed, and I really feel like it advanced his character quite a bit, kind of pushed him over the edge to save the day in the third act. Harrison Ford was great. As great as he was, the whole movie I kept wondering, like, damn, William Hurt should have done this. If It's really tragic because William Hurt has spent the past 15 years being Thunderbolt Ross in all of the MCU, way back to that Incredible Hulk movie that this is a sequel to. It would have been so satisfying to see him finally become Red Hulk, just like he is in the comics with all the different versions. This would have been the greatest payoff ever. But I totally understand, hey, you don't want to do what you did with Black Panther and pretend that he's dead in the universe. You want to do more things with this character, and this is the way to do that. Totally see that. He's great. Harrison Ford is great as Thunderbolt Ross. I'm really excited to see more of him because we're going to see more of him. The leader was really, really cool, fun to watch. In the movie, not as much as I thought he would be. I kind of wish they did more, at least a little more development. I get his backstory makes sense since that Incredible Hulk movie. They talk about what's been happening for the past 16, 17 years. I see why, but I don't know, maybe that's stuck somewhere in the second act that was really cut down. Like, hey, I'd love to have seen that, I'd love to, a little bit of tell, don't show occurred with that character. But in any case, he's an enjoyable character to watch. He's really fun. The one thing I will say, though, is that Stearns has the Palpatine problem of everyone in universe treats him like, oh, he's one of the smartest, most manipulative people who takes over everything and you can't stop him. But, all of his plans fail. So, how smart could he possibly be? Stearns is like, there's a 70 whatever chance that this is going to happen. Then it doesn't happen. He's like, oh, I'm so angry that it didn't happen. How effective are you? How effective could you have possibly been the past 17 years if you're getting stuff like that wrong? Either way, it's really satisfying to see him brought back and have that plot line finally brought to... There's a lot of finally moments, like, oh my God, they're doing this now. Oh my God, they're bringing this in. And it's not just fan service. It's for the sake of the story, this is the payoff for the story you're telling. So I was super into that, really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry, man, but anytime that Captain America is doing a kick flip with his wings soaring through the air, throwing the shield, it bounces, and then while it's bouncing, he does wing slices and fucking chops guys in half, and then catches the shield. And anytime they're doing the fun tricks like that, I'm so in it. I'm obsessed with that. It's so fun. There's a lot of fight scenes. There's a lot of action. And not just fight hand to hand. There's a lot of flying through the air, blowing up missiles. You see clips of this in the trailers. And there's an entire sequence in the second act that's 15 minutes long. And it's pretty crazy. They do a lot. They do a lot with their less than 2 hour runtime, I assume. It's felt pretty short. There are a lot of scenes that I liked and aspects of them I didn't. So, for example, when they first meet the leader, Samuel Stearns, and he's got that evil monologue, he has this remote device that shoots down this sound wave thing, and Captain America has to hold up the shield to block it the best he can. Those are the same pieces of tech they used in 2008's Hulk that we have not seen used since, the sound wave things. And they finally brought that back because that character is associated with that storyline. And they never mention it. It's just a little detail. There's a lot of little details in there like that where it's just oh, hey, if you caught that, that's him. That's what this does. That's what that is. And I really, really picked up on a lot of those. I would love to watch it again to find more. But in that same scene, the reshoots kind of come in. So it's got footage of the leader do it it does shot reverse shot with him and Captain America, right? Going on the leader, and he's like, blah, 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 evil plan, whatever. And it cuts to Captain America, and while the screen is on Anthony Mackie, you hear Tim Blake Nelson's ADR going, talking about the plot and exposition that, either already happened or it's just not, they're just changing shit last minute. And then they cut back to the leader with footage that was shot on the day with him, wrapping up his speech. And I'm just ooh. But they do the same thing all the time a lot in the Marvel. They did that in Deadpool and Wolverine. In the TVA scene when he's first meeting the agent, the scene where the bad guy is we used to prune these universes and now they blah, blah, blah. That's obviously a reshoot because the end of Loki season 2 changes what the TVA is and what it does. So, but it's very obviously a reshoot because it's shot way differently than everything else on the screen. But regardless, those are in there. They're in every Marvel movie. You just don't notice them as much. So this one, they should have tidied it up a little bit better. At the end of the day, the product that we have, it's not the Marvels in terms of, oh my God, where did the movie go? You just chopped everything up into a blender. It's actually a genuine, worthwhile story. Again, I'm not holding it up to the standard of Winter Soldier, but I would put this on par with the first Captain America, which is a movie I really enjoy and appreciate. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. at the end of the day. I thought it was really satisfying, really fun. I would absolutely see it again, if not just for the Red Hulk scene. Just the little details, like when Red Hulk's like jumping through the White House and stuff like that, and he crashes along the Washington Monument, and the way that he glides across the building wall, he's tearing off the face of the building, the facade, as he goes to slow himself down and like correct him. Ripped straight from 2008's Hulk. I'm sorry, but that's like this is a sequel to 2008's Hulk. It is not a sequel to Captain America first and foremost. It is first and foremost Incredible Hulk Part 2. Then second tier, it is a Captain America movie, and then tertiary, it's an Eternals follow-up. So that's why I liked it though. Like I feel like if it was, primarily a Captain America sequel and you just had little Red Hulk elements, I don't know if I'd be as interested. Like this is really fun for me because I haven't gotten another Incredible Hulk movie since Incredible Hulk. I did not expect it to lean in that hard, to lean in that much to what that is and what it really should be. Like all people, I was a little nervous about Sam becoming Captain America, but so is Sam, and that's a really fun character decision to do. But I realized at the end of the day, why it worked for me is because we've spent so much time with Sam. Like he was introduced in 2014 in Winter Soldier, and he's been like in every other MCU movie since. He's been popping up all over the damn place. And then finally, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, after Endgame, where he gets the mantle passed on to him, you see him struggle with that, and you see him realize the consequences of not accepting the mantle. Like he tries to give the shield back and be like, okay, I'm not good enough for it. I understand. But then what happens when the wrong guy gets the shield? Well, he has to deal with that and his own failure and his own decision. And I enjoyed his realizing that he has to metamorphosize into this role and transition into that. After that story, this is the logical extension. Here we are. Now he is in the role. This is him. And he's realized that this is where I need to be. This is what I need to do. And he's just not taking shit from anybody. He's Captain fucking America. It's great. It's, it would not be as good as it is were it not for all of the content previously. And that could be said of a lot of parts in the movie. Without Incredible Hulk, a lot of this movie is just fallen flat. Without Eternals, it comes out of nowhere. But it really does purposely build on what's come before to deliver what I feel like is a really satisfying experience. So I get the 50% at Rotten Tomatoes. Just put me in the half of the 50% that gave it a positive review. That's all I mean. So yeah, I'm an outlier. What can I say? There are worse things to be an outlier on, so it's not the worst thing in the world. See you in the next one.